Welcome back to Learning Tarot Using Astrology. And today we get to our first sign that is a zodiac sign. So we are on card 4, which is the Emperor. And the Emperor is Aries, okay? This is Aries energy. So if you are an Aries rising, we're going to talk about Aries rising so you can start to see how this plays into the chart. You would put this on this little card will be on the house in your chart that says Aries. So you'll have Aries on one of your 12, or if you have an intercepted chart, you might have Aries on 2 different houses. But this really sets kind of the tone for the characters in the house. So if it's your 4th house, it's your home, right? And then if it's an Aries 4th house, this is the atmosphere of this house. And then each of the planets in the house are the characters. Okay. So we're on the Emperor. This is Aries. It's cardinal. So he is a cardinal sign. Aries is a cardinal sign. And it's the first sign of the zodiac. And it is spring. It's initiating. Cardinal signs are all associated with the start of a season. We follow the Western tropical way of astrology. So, and that is based on seasons. There are other types of astrology, and one day I'll take you down the rabbit hole of sidereal, which is through the placement of the stars. So, let's start with Aries here, our Emperor. Here it is. You are born. Aries usually rules the first house, which is the body. It's the moment of your first breath. So this is the first house. And what you can kind of think of, you land, you're born, your soul comes in to this body. You're in this body and you land on Earth. And you're here to make a dent. The universe has called your name, and here you are. You get to stand up and say, here. Okay? You're alive. All right? You have a right to be here. And understand that you are everything. Okay? So this is an area of your chart that I want you to realize that you need to feel alive in, okay? You are here to make a dent, and that is maybe an area of your chart that you need to think about, where do I need to make more of a dent in my life? You're going to have an impact on your own existence, okay? So what I want you to think about, this is an older looking gentleman, right? Which is funny because Aries is considered kind of the toddler of the zodiac. But this is a father figure, okay? He is, so if we had the number 3, do you remember the number 3? Number 3, we had the Empress, right? The Empress was this the natural world. It's the woman, it's the mother. And then we have the father figure, okay? Because you need the yin and the yang to create the human. So she was the natural world. He is the social world. If we go back to traditional ways, the father was the one who set the rules in the house, right? He's the one that brought you out into society, right? This is a social world we live in. There's laws in society, and this is about the power to enforce, okay? So the father, I always think of like the father figure is my word is the law in this house, right? Most of us, many of us growing up, it was always like, wait till your father gets home, right? It's kind of one of those phrases you heard probably in the 80s. What I want you to think about too is that in a just society, because he is with rules and laws and martial law. So if we look at mundane, this would be where the armies are in charts. Members, when society is functioning and operating correctly, members get to pursue their personal needs and development, okay? So when society is functioning, we are able to pursue these personal needs and development. In an unjust society, right, stability takes precedence over morality. And you think about this in terms of like war-torn countries, right? It's about really creating stability And it's less about personal needs and what do you desire and what do you want to be when you grow up. It's more like the survival of the country, survival of the human. Aries energy can be pretty forceful, aggressive. Aries is associated with the god of war, okay? But it's also about new life springing forward, okay? I want you also to think Aries people can tend to be a bit fearless. They're pretty confident, they're courageous, they're adventurous, they're very pioneering. They like to get the job done. But here's the thing, it's cardinal energy. Cardinal starts out strong, so it goes cardinal, then it goes fixed energy. Fixed energy keeps the gears grinding, mutable, helps you with transition. So, it's associated with a lot of leadership, but I'll tell you a lot. I would tell you if you have Aries sun or an Aries rising person on your team, I would give them short-term goals, because cardinal is, I come out, I'm excited, I do it for a little bit, and I'm kind of bored. Like, they will be the first ones to go out to run onto the battlefield for you. But once it's kind of conquered, they don't want to stick around and come up with all this stuff and do all things. They want to go on to their next adventure. Okay? Short-term goals. Great. 5-year plan. Never going to ask an Aries or an Aries rising what their five-year plan is. Don't bother. So here you have our emperor, right? He's here. We talk about society. You want to make order out of chaos, right? People are born. Can't have just everyone running amok. When this card is pulled, right, it could be that, depending on the cards around it, have they had any recent encounters with the law? This is more so personal in persona and psychology about, it's a time of stability and discipline so that you can balance your creative impulses. Okay? You need stability. You need discipline to do these creative endeavors. Could also represent, if you pull it in a tarot reading, someone who has power over you. This traditionally is the father figure. It's also your ability to defend your own territories, to set boundaries. And then what you need to understand about Aries people as well is they're ruled by Mars, okay? Mars energy comes out running, it's survival, it's your needs, right? So this is going to be about analysis, logic, measurement, reason. This is not emotional intuition. This is not the Venus, okay? This is, we're out to survive, we're out to get this, this is what I want, these are the steps, let's go do this now, okay? So here we have this older father figure, and what you need to understand is that he's number 4 in the deck, right? He wants you to be the heir to the kingdom. You're here, you're alive, and for Aries risings, you have a mission. You came here with a mission. You might not know what it is yet, but when you figure it out, you have to commit fully to it. The Emperor wants to leave you the keys to the kingdom, okay? Just understand you are important, you are everything, you are alive, and you're going to make a dent here in the world. You'll see here, he's got the Egyptian symbol of life and death. We have, do you remember in the Empress, she had that beautiful river flowing back there. This is nice and lush. This is hard and cold, okay? It's an old, stiff man. He's dressed in iron. It's really about the sterility of life. It's governed by rules, right? It's just this little bit of reason and logic. You'll notice too, there's 4 Aries ram heads. Now, 4 is significant. So we have 4 corners, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Spirit, soul, mother, father. Okay. So here we had spirit, soul. You got the mother and you got the father. Here you create this wholeness. Okay. You've got air, wind, earth, fire. Aries rules the head. Okay. When we look at the body, When Mars goes through Aries and it's transiting through the sky, watch for headaches, migraines, things of that nature, okay? So you can see things that will happen with the body as planets transit around your chart, okay? So it does rule the head. If you have a ton of headaches, look at what you have in your chart in Aries to see what's some of the aspects going to it. Medical astrology is very, very fascinating. We'll go into the Hippocratic Oath at one point too, because you're supposed to know astrology as part of the Hippocratic Oath, but they've dropped that part off. Okay, so Aries rising, right? Aries rising comes into the room. They're not the quietest people. They come in, you kind of hear them come in. They're a little loud, forceful. They push through, okay? I can usually tell an Aries rising. They also will have this tone where it comes off very kind of, you kind of know because the way they speak is a little more blunt. And it's not supposed to be in a bad way. It's just the way they push forward with like enthusiasm and this like Mars energy. But this is the Emperor. He, like when he comes up, just make sure, am I holding my boundaries? Do I know my mission? Do I feel like I belong here? Because I do. So you have Aries is cardinal. And then you have Leo, which is fire energy as well, which is fixed. Okay, so Aries came down, you made a dent. Leo, I like to think when we get to the Leo strength card, the lion, the paw print, he kind of pushes it down and he makes an imprint and kind of makes a mark on Earth. And he's like here to push his paw print into the Earth. And then Sagittarius is about being expansive, right? It's the mutable sign, and it's also an area that governs like kind of like long distance travel and beliefs. And think about walking in the sand and you leave these footprints, okay? So you make a little dent, you land, kind of push in, you make your imprint with Leo, and then you kind of keep the prints going with Sagittarius. So that's kind of a cycle of the fire signs. But this is our first zodiac sign that has popped up in our tarot. So I hope you are enjoying this series. We will continue on in our major arcana. One thing to really note is that the major arcana is about, it's not about the to-do list. It's really about an energy that kind of fills the space, okay? It's the vibe. When we get to the 2 through 10 cards, where you go through the fire, the wands, the wands are the fire, the pentacles, the swords, and the cups, that's where you get to more of like the tasks in the tarot, okay? So hopefully you're enjoying this series. To the Aries risings, congratulations, accept your mission, find your mission, figure out your mission, and then fully commit to it, okay? And put this on the house on your birth chart that is associated with Aries. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow along. And as we go through this, you're going to see as more zodiac signs come up that we're going to really learn about the rising signs. And I will start talking to you about the midheaven as well and the other corners of the chart. So it'll be pretty exciting. And I hope you can learn a bit about how to read tarot and astrology and how a lot of these tools work together. Hope you're as excited and fascinated with this as I am, and I truly enjoy it, so I hope you are too.